All right, welcome everybody to the Festival Addicts Tuesday show, where we give you all of your festival news and needs. And, you know, we're here to have a really good time. So I want to welcome our wonderful panel today. We have Ange. Hi, Ange.
Hey, guys. Nice to be here. Nice to see everybody again. And we got Kelly here today, too.
Hola. Hi, Pooja.
Hey, and of course Monique's back. Hi, Monique.
Well, sort of. She's a voice in the sky. Notice there's a lack of image there. It's intentional. It's not a Festival Addicts technical difficulty.
She's still here.
Yeah, but she's back. We missed her last week, but she is back, guys.
You can hear the sultry sound of my voice as we go through the show. And we have quite a bit. We have quite a bit that we actually want to cover.
Yes.
It kind of feels like festival season has started because there's literally park-in raves and drive-ins that are happening across the country all the time. And that's kind of one of the reasons why Ange is here, because she just recently attended an event, and she's here to tell us all about it. So Ange, tell us what events you went to this weekend.
Yes. So I went to the Adventure Club. I went to the second day of it, and it was the first pod rave here. So everybody was set up in their own pods. I feel like it's so much better than the drive-in raves, because I love the vibes of the of the pod raves, because you could just feel the energy more, and you can see everybody dancing, and everybody's in their own safe area. But it's just like the vibes and the energy, and it was just I just felt so happy to be back, and that felt more of like a festival show vibe than the drive-ins. Me personally, that's what I think. And I just had such an amazing time. Relentless Beats and Thomas Turner absolutely killed it. And I know the first pod rave that we had last weekend or 2 weekends ago, it was with Keizo, and I had also gone to that one. And the only downside with that was it took forever to get water, because they implemented this rule that you couldn't bring any water. So at first I was like, okay, that doesn't really make sense, but they did state that they would have water for everybody at their pods. And so I went with my whole group, and we got there, and we had already been waiting in line. Had already been outside for a while, so we're already hot. And right when I got there, I was like, I need water. So we get the water, and there are these tiny little 8-ounce bottles, and I downed it in 2 seconds.
Like the airplane bottles?
Yeah, I was like, dude, that is not enough. I was like, okay, so now we gotta buy water. So I went online, bought water, and it was like, whatever, $5. And then plus they added a tip because somebody brings it to you.
Yeah.
And then, so then 20 minutes went by, 30 minutes went by, 40 minutes went by, an hour went by, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need water. This is awful. And it was just a big old deal. But come this pod rave, they changed the rules, and they said, okay, you guys can bring an unlimited amount of water, like whatever amount. I said unlimited. And when I went, there was legitimately people with full cases of water, huge cases of water, 1 case, 2
24
cases.
packs of water.
Yeah, like multiple cases. Yeah. So
they let you guys bring all of that in.
Yep, they let us bring all of it in. It was totally okay. They just asked everybody, is it sealed? Is it sealed? And everybody said, yeah.
Did they check if they were sealed? Like if that people were bringing in sealed water?
Nope,
really?
they
just like verbally verified?
Yeah, because everything was pretty much closed, and like gallons of water. And there's people, obviously, they're like, we need our water. This is a rave, and we're outside, and we're dancing our little booties off. So I was super, super happy about that, because I did not run out of water. I was hydrated. I didn't die. So I was really appreciative of Thomas Turner for fixing that and addressing that, because it was known. I feel like that was the main thing that everybody talked about and complained about at the Keizo show. So I'm really glad that they fixed that this time around. But the festival was fun. Everybody killed it. Security was super a breeze. Tickets was a breeze. Everything's inside of the of the warehouse at Rawhide, like check-in, security, getting your tickets and all of that scanned. That's all inside now.
How thorough is the security process?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
It's still, I feel like they're a little bit more thorough now.
They're more thorough, you feel?
Yeah, I feel like they're more thorough. I feel like they definitely check like all pockets, make sure they check every single
they physically touch you. There's like some sort of like physical interaction between the security and that's the first I'm hearing about this for like any event right now. So that's really interesting, because I haven't heard about that at any of the car raves. I haven't seen that at any of the drive-ins where there's any sort of physical interaction between any like employee or worker or anybody who's like insured, right? To like an attendee. Like that hasn't happened since March.
Wild, yeah. So because they weren't doing that at all at the drive-ins. They weren't doing that at all. They just had the dogs going around and sniffing and smelling in each car. So I think it's thorough. I think just because obviously we're coming into the event now and we're walking through, and they're just checking to see like what we have on us. Nope. metal detectors. No, it was just like a quick pat down and then searching through all of your things and whatnot. So it was good. Checking in is fun. It goes back pretty far back because when I was walking around, it just, I don't know what it is, like 20 rows or something. But towards the back, there was like nobody back there. And I don't think I would want to be back there just because there's like the huge lights and you couldn't really hear the sound that much. It wasn't that great. And then it's just that one stage up front. So it's not that you can't really see that much and you don't really get that bass or anything. But so definitely kind of middle and then up is really good. They are super, super strict on masks, super strict. So if you have your mask off for 2.5 seconds, someone is going to see you. Yeah. And someone is going to tell you like, yo, put your mask back on because that's a rule. So they're super good about that. They're implementing it. They make sure that there's a max of 8 people, I believe it is, for each pod. So they're going around and but so when I was walking around to go like take pictures and everything, I went back to my pod so I can sit and like switch out my lenses. My pod was taken. So
that's what I heard too.
I was like,
I've heard that.
Wait, what?
Nayeli was telling me last week she went to the Queso Pod Rave and she said she would never go back to a Pod Rave because the biggest issue is if it undersells or doesn't sell out, people will self-upgrade. Like they will. Yeah. They'll like just move up like they would in an airplane, right? Like it's the same sort of thing. They think it's no harm, no foul. Like, you know, even if you're assigned seat, like people, it's just like an airplane. There's that mentality of like, oh, that's nobody's, no one, you know, I'm not hurting anybody if I'm taking it. Like
they're just gonna go get it. Yeah.
Right. So
and they're not checking, they're not going around and checking everybody's wristband to make sure you're in your pod.
Is that they didn't do a good job. Like she actually complained about the people in front of her and the security didn't do anything about it.
Wow.
And so it sucks because you pay, it's not like everybody pays the same amount and then it's first come, first serve necessarily. It's like you pay based on like every 3 sections, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, so like people pay more to be in like a nicer viewer spot. So if people are self-upgrading, it's irritating to the people who pay more to be there, and it makes
extremely.
Last week is that she'd never go back to a pod rave because it was just too much self-upgrading.
Yeah, and that's super frustrating. So and what exactly did you do in order to reclaim your pod?
Well, it was a big group and it was just me and my friend. So then we're like, well, because my friend that was with me, my little assistant that was with me, we had to go back to our pod and we went back because we were walking around, but it was just like a big group of people. So I was like, well, okay, because security guard did tell us to go back to our pod. I was like, okay, I guess we'll go there for a little bit. And then we tried to go back and we were like, well, I don't know what you want us to do now because our pod is taken.
Yeah.
We just like walked around for the rest of the evening because like the show was almost over. But I could definitely imagine how people could feel because it's pricey. I mean, it's split up, but like for that one pod, it's pricey. Especially if you get front, middle. So if you leave, like just to go, I don't know, what if your whole crew has to go to the bathroom or something? And then you come back and your pod is taken. That's not cool. Like
if your pod is just you and like your spouse, right? Like say like you went with the person you live with, right? Like me, hypothetically, everybody should be able to go to an event and enjoy it with like as minimal amount of human like social in a complete social distance. And that's why I felt like I was a big advocate for a lot of these at the beginning, because like hypothetically one could go to a car rave, not interact with anybody within 6 feet of them, including like the ticket scanner, because that's like through the window, right? Yeah. So you don't have to interact with anybody, you know? And then you could go to the event and you're like 20 feet away from the nearest person, 30 feet away from the nearest person. Kelly knows because she went to Arizona, you know, too, Ange. And so like those were really, really well spaced out. You really didn't interact.
Definitely.
This seems a lot more like you are forced to interact with people that like, I don't know if like necessarily we're like, maybe it's a state by state case basis for legality, but like society wise and science wise are ready for.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely got that vibe more of, cause it was more spread out at the drive-ins, and I did get that more like vibe of people definitely like
closer to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. People were socializing. Yeah.
Right,
And then you could see your neighbors right next to you. So you're like, hey, friend, how's it going over there?
I just went with you, Ange, right? And then like we went to the bathroom and we came back and our pod's gone. Like, and you and I were like roommates or something. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Now our pod got robbed.
I was like, I just had to go pee, man. All right. And just come back to my pod and it's
I
gone.
pick, y'all kick rocks.
Seriously.
That's so easy for women.
Yeah. So
I feel like
let's talk a little bit more about the event. So you said all of the acts were really good, but and that you went to the bathroom and then you came back and your pod was gone. But what was there, like a bathroom queue? Like what were the bathrooms like?
No, but I did see them cleaning the bathrooms like periodically while I was there. Multiple times they would come and sweep the bathrooms. The bathrooms were actually really clean. Definitely not like a regular rave and a regular show, because it was clean. There was toilet paper in all of them. There wasn't really like social distancing at the bathrooms. It's just there was a line of porta potties on each side, and everybody just kind of waited in line. But the lines were never really crazy, just because there's not as a significant amount of people at these events than there is at like regular shows and raves that we were previously used to. So it wasn't too crazy. Everybody was just waiting in line. They have the hand washing stations like lined up across the whole way, and they have hand sanitizers in all of them as well. And then at the pod raves, they did give out water bottles and they gave out bags of chips. So that was nice because I was hungry when I got there. So I ate like 3 bags of chips. That was cool.
Oh yeah, because it's for 5 people essentially, right?
Yeah,
and there's
exactly. It was only 2 of us. I was like, dude, we got hooked up. We got 8 waters and 8 bags of chips. So I am okay with it. So.
I hope that stuff.
Okay, that sounds like a win.
I hope that stuff is sponsored. More free stuff, Thomas Turner. You go.
Yeah, exactly. It was like just keep brilling it in. So I think that was really cool, just to give us something to snack on, and at least some water to start off with. But after that, you gotta bring your own water, obviously. But I was also I was talking to one of the girls I was taking a picture of, and she was drinking a drink, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a Red Bull vodka," and then she was like, "But it was $20." Oh my goodness! Oh, $20! Like,
so, Ange, can I ask you? I'm assuming that with the allowing people to bring in water, people brought in things other than water, as in snuck in things other than water.
I'm not assuming
you specifically, but like, did you per se witness those things?
I did not witness anything of that, but I'm almost positive that like water is clear. Water is clear. Like obviously, oh yeah, my water bottle is definitely sealed. Like they weren't thoroughly checking the water bottles to be like, okay, this is sealed or not. So everybody's just walking in with either water or vodka or a mixture of both. So, but yeah, but that can definitely save you some money because those drinks are $20 each, and then a beer was $16. I didn't get a chance to get any of the food or look at any of the food. Or actually, one of the girls got a hot dog, and she said that was like $12 and it wasn't good. So
for what? Why was it $12?
It's like 12 Costco hot dogs.
Seriously,
is that relentless? I'm sure I wonder if Rawhide controls that, and it's just not very.
Oh, that's true. I have no idea who controls that. I wonder if it's Rawhide or if it's.
Yeah, it seems like Rawhide food. Like that seems.
Honestly, that feels like a staple of music festivals, overpriced food and drinks. So I'm not even gonna complain.
But even for your guys' venue, that seems really high. That seems like what we pay out here. $20 is way higher than I remember paying out there.
Yep, you mentioned last week that the food and drinks at the Kezia or the Maceo Flex show were actually pretty reasonable. I remember mentioning they were like pretty fair.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, like when we went to Case, I just saw that the White Claws were $14 each, and we were like, no.
Are they the regular size one or the bigger ones?
I didn't even know. I guess the normal size, but whatever White Claw it was $14. I mean, who buys White Claws at $14? Not I don't buy White Claws ever, but
you'd have to pay me $14 to drink a White Claw.
But
first
it's
off.
a music festival, right? Overpriced drinks. overpriced food. That's part of it. It's not a music festival if they're not selling
with overpriced drinks.
Yeah.
Music festival unless you sneak in your own alcohol. So guys,
that's what it is.
That's why I asked that. And that's one of the things I missed about all these things was the fun shenanigans that we used to do at festivals.
Heck yeah, sneaking in stuff, but no, definitely because people need to get lit and continue their litness. So they're going to bring in their own alcohol to do so, or pay an absurd amount of money for alcohol.
People either need to get lit and other separate people need to get paid. So it's kind of a win-win.
There you go. Exactly.
And
so.
For the record, we at Festival Addicts do not condone sneaking in your alcohol.
Heck no.
I was just
this is just stuff that we have, observed over the years.
Yep.
You only have Pooja shenanigans over here. We don't have Monique, her little image to balance out the good versus bad. So it's all bad right now.
It's all bad.
All right. So, and what are your final thoughts on the Adventure Club?
So I loved it. I know Decadon, I didn't know he played the guitar. I didn't know he was going to bring out the guitar. So I flipped over that because I love live instruments, and that was super, super cool for him to do. And I was able to get some pretty good pictures, and Adventure Club killed it. Overall, it was super, super good. And I am super, super excited that there are more of these coming. I know we have one coming up next week. Halloween weekend or next weekend. So we have them back to back. So it's like festival season all over again. I'm so happy. But me personally, I prefer these pod raves over the drive-in raves. They just make me happy, and I get to dance my little butt off and meet new people. And
do you feel safe though?
I do feel safe. Yeah. I mean, it's you can't touch anybody. Your neighbors is over there, and just be like, "Hey, neighbor. Bye," from a distance. I love you from a distance. Yeah, it's I want to say over 6 feet separated from each other. They're pretty spaced out pretty well. And then the pod area itself is pretty big, enough for your crew and to get dancing and grooving. So yeah, overall, it is good in my books. And I appreciate Thomas Turner, and I love him with all of my heart because he's making all of this happen for us and giving us life again during hard times.
And I have one more question. I'm so sorry.
No, keep asking these questions. It's okay.
Because could you have Ubered to this event? Someone told me the big benefit of pod raves is you don't need a designated driver. You could get picked up, dropped off.
Because when we walked out, at both of the pod raves, because it's so much smaller than the regular raves. Half of the for people who have been to Rawhide, everybody knows how packed it gets for a festival and for a show. It takes up the whole parking lot. But for these shows, it was half of that. I parked literally right in front of the door, walked there, walked back to my car, no traffic whatsoever. Easy peasy. There was Uber there. There was everything. There was already people there waiting for people to get picked up. So that is really true. You can just get dropped off and get picked up by Uber and get lit with all of your friends in a safe way.
A designated driver for this one, but for everything else, please have one.
Yes, exactly. For everything else, yes, because it's super easy. It was in and out. It's a lot more smoother process. It's not as crowded, and we're not packed up like sardines anymore. So, but yeah, it was good. I liked it. I'm so glad I was able to go.
Well, that's outstanding. And if you are just tuning in, you kind of missed the slideshow of all the pictures that Ange took at the event, but we will definitely we'll have that album up so you can check that out. We did start previewing some of them on our social medias. So Ange, thank you so much. I know you gotta take off.
Peace out,
guys. Before you leave, let everybody know where we can find you on social media.
Yes. So again, I am Angie, and you can find me at EDM Queen B on Instagram, and I will be there. And then you can also find my photos there. So yeah, it was so nice catching up with everybody, and I will see everybody later.
All right.
Bye guys.
Thank you.
That was great.
All right. I mean, that's really cool. When I started noticing all of these park and raves where it was these pod styles, I was really excited to see how it would actually turn out, because for a long time it's just been kind of you show up in your car and that's it. But this is literally the closest thing we're going to get to music festivals. So
unless you're in Florida.
Yeah, unless you're in Florida where you're going to get full-blown events, and that'll definitely
COVID.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But this Adventure Club one and isn't the only pod style rave that's been going on. Like Kaizo had one in Arizona just last week. Pooja, you said that you actually got a chance to check out the Kaizo show virtually.
Yeah, and that was Insomniac. So basically Kaizo played this week at the NOS Center. And their Park and Rave series, that's week 2, I believe, for the SoCal Park and Rave series. Then week 3 next week's Adventure Club, and they just announced week 4 for Halloween for Joyride and Say My Name. But they're starting to live stream these. So now you don't actually have to go to the NOS Center or park outside the NOS Center as they've done. Alexis, Joel, Christian, I'm calling them out. They actually live near San Bernardino, have been driving just and parking outside and listening to the music for the last few shows.
Nice.
Now Insomniac is live streaming them. If you miss watching live music and watching the crowd listen to live music, you can watch them on Insomniac TV, starting with the openers all the way up to the closer. In full disclosure, I only watched the closer, so I only watched Keizo's set, but I watched it from beginning to end. And I have some kind of mixed thoughts about it, but both from the production side and from Keizo's actual set. Anything specific?
So what were your thoughts?
Well, I want to know about the production side. What did you have an issue on that? I'm curious.
Daniela talked about the physical production, right? The stage not being big enough. If you follow me on social media, you know that I complained about it looking very much like the NOS Center. It's not transformed beyond I don't know. And I don't know what I was expecting either. You can only change an open pavilion with buildings and lights so much, but it just looks the same, you know? So the same string lights, the same sort of I don't know, fencing, everything. It just all looks the same. You see the mountains in the background. You can't move mountains. But aside from that production, the actual filming production, they had a lot of people on stage moving around. I know you have to have a lot of camera angles to keep an interesting, live stream because you want to see it from the front and the side and the DJ jumping and the crowd jumping and you want, different angles. But it was just too many camera people, and then half of them were dressed in snow blacks. Half of them were industry people dressed in influencer clothing that were just on their phones holding and filming, and it's just distracting from the show. So it's not a perspective, I think that camera angle up top above the DJ where you could see the DJ and all behind him was just an unnecessary angle because it just showed too much behind the scenes to be conducive to the energy of the show. Gotcha. I loved the crowd. I thought the crowd shots were phenomenal. The people that they picked to show were lots of people that were Keizo fans and Keizo jerseys, or their whole crew was in a matched up in a theme, and it just felt very real. It didn't feel like Tomorrowland's hottest influencers.
Yeah.
It feel Miami Beach's latest plastic surgery model catalog. It felt real people who go to raves that are with their squads that are enjoying the event, and so I liked it because that energy was super infectious through this.
So that was your complaints about the production, but
seeing the production people. I feel like if you're part of the magic of the show, you don't need to be seen.
So what were your thoughts on the other half of it?
I thought the set was really good. Keizo likes his job a lot. He likes being a DJ. No one wants to see a DJ be too cool for school. I think cheesy. I'm all about cheesy. You should love your fucking job, especially if you have a great job. You should love it and own it. So I thought that he was really entertaining from that perspective. The mixes were good. The drops were good. I thought it was a good set. I think he played Last Resort 3 or 4 times, which is his mix of Papa Roach's 2000s or 1990s.
Yeah.
From that era. And Keizo has an EDM mix of it, which is his number 1 song on Spotify. And he literally played that song 3 times in the set, and it just becomes a little redundant. But you know what? If he's proud of it and it's his favorite piece of work and he loves it and his crowd loves it, then so be it. Who am I to, who am I to?
It would be a Keizo show without it, I guess.
Yeah, who am I to? I wish Liz was here because Liz loves Keizo, and I'm sure she would feel as though that's just a staple of a Keizo show. So I hope overall they continue to live stream it. I think it gives the industry a good rep. I think it shows that these events are fun and safe and positive and, like appropriate, and like ravers aren't just like getting trashed in like parking lots. Like people dress up and they're excited to be there and it's their favorite music and they're with their friends and there's like a positive environment to raving. And I think if Insomniac can control the narrative around that, then it's good for the rest of us because it'll make people go to other events. At first I was a little concerned it would make people stay at home and watch the live streams, but I think it's going to give music to people who didn't have it. Like most of the people watching are probably going to be outside the United States, to be honest. And then the people in the US are going to see it and be like, damn, I need to go to one. How do I go to one of those? I need to go to one of those. That looks fun.
I feel like the cost of these Insomniac ones are like kind of significant. So 1 or 2 in and like potentially you might have blown all the extra money you could afford to spend on some of these, So it's kind of cool that they get to stream them now at least. So
that makes me happy because you don't have to go to all of them. You should just go to your favorites.
Exactly.
And these are selling out like hotcakes, the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I think like they don't want to encourage unethical, bad behavior.
Yeah.
Like if music should be accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
So I have a question. You guys were talking about price points just a few minutes ago, where the cost of these drive-ins is very different than these pod style. So what is the cost difference between a pod and the drive-in?
Well, I think it's the Arizona market is just cheaper than the California market. And so like depending on where the event's going to be held, you'll find a different price point. Also, Insomniac's just expensive. Like it's definitely the highest tier because it's the highest quality of show. Like they pay people well. They pay their artists, they pay the people that are like, they pay everybody. They don't use any free labor. So I understand why that cost is so high. But at the same time, I don't think that the price point justifies the level of show that you're getting, especially at the back.
No, definitely not. I almost wish, and I know it kind of takes away a little bit of the magic, and I know they're trying to be like really go last minute on the fly next weekend kind of ticket, but it would be really nice. I feel like, especially like you don't know what's going to be on sale a week from now or 2 weeks from now. Like maybe I could better spend my money and save up for a $500 ticket, front row ticket, if I knew definitively the one that I really wanted to see was going to play in 4 weeks instead of next week, And that way everybody kind of gets a show instead of like just the people who have money maybe going to every show, not knowing.
So I hope that the people who watch this show and you guys can hopefully spread the word too. A lot of the DJs, Subtronics is saying this on his show or on his tour. They're touring. So Subtronics is telling people, hey, do not travel to my show. I am going to come to you. I promise you, I'm going to hit all 50 states, if not like as close as I damn can before my tour ends. Do not fly across the country to see me. Do not fly anywhere to see me. I'm going to hit your like local nearest home big venue before this thing ends. Like I promise you. And so I think if more artists, now that they're starting to tour, put out there that like, hey, like I'm going to make it to these venues at some point or these towns at some point, like get ready. I think that'll give people that preparation because like you said, right now, the way these are trending is you're not getting more than 2 weeks notice on these kinds of events unless it's like EDM drive-in, because Electric Fiesta is promoting 7 events that week, not just EDM drive-in.
Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting because it's very true. Like it's like they announce on Monday and then tickets go on sale on like, Thursday. And it is very fast paced now that we are starting to get events, and they are happening they're like popping up like daisies. So like, that Pooja, you've spent quite a bit of time curating a list. So what events are getting ready to come up, this coming weekend as well as leading into Halloween?
Yeah. So we have on our website a list of all of the events that are coming up both this weekend and on Halloween. There's also a specific tab that you'll find on our website for Halloween, like on a map. But I can talk to you guys a little bit about the shows that are coming up or the events that are coming up. And then Olu can put up a nice handy map that I made that'll show you guys everything for Halloween. So just to briefly go over what's coming up before Halloween. This weekend you have Adventure Club at the NOS Center, and that's also going to be live streamed, just like the Hazo one was this week. And then you have Nightmare doing a pod rave with Relentless Beats. So that's the next pod concert series. So those are the big ones this weekend in our area. Subtronics is still touring, so he's in the Midwest still. And then there's Vital Events is doing a show with Shiba-san and J-Flip up in the Bay Area. So those are kind of the main ones this weekend. Everyone's just really gearing up for Halloween. That's the big push. Yeah.
And you mentioned that EDM Drive-In is hosting 7 events?
Yes.
And what are those?
So EDM Drive-In is hosting a drag comedy show, a normal comedy show. They're doing a live action of Rocky Horror Picture Show. They have 2 nights of EDM music, so EDM Drive-In, EDM Drive-In. And then the last night, Sunday, they're doing a reenactment of Pink Floyd's Laser Show. I forgot the name of the song, but it's like everyone's parents in the 70s. If your parents lived here in the 70s, mine didn't. But if your parents lived here in the 70s and they were into psychedelic stuff, it was that Pink Floyd Laser Show that used to be super popular. They're reenacting it with the original members of the band.
These are all taking place next weekend, right? Is it all on Friday and Saturday? I'm sorry?
They're all at Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, yeah.
Oh, no, but is it all over the course of a few days? When do these events start?
They start on the Thursday before Halloween, so the 29th, 30th, 31st. So there's 4 days and 7 events across 4 days. Dark Side.
Gotcha.
Bernard's correct. He gave me the name Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, well, that'll be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if anybody's in the San Antonio area, definitely get your tickets for that. They are still on sale. And these are the drive-ins, so it's not the pod style.
No, those are drive-ins. They have a haunted drive-in tunnel when you arrive. They have fireworks at the end of the night. They have sponsored goodie bags for all the attendees in VIP and in the general admission area. Overall, it's going to be a fun time. They have a lot of good plans to make all the attendees feel special. And it's more than just a drive-in rave, which is why it took, a month and a half or 2 months of preparation and announcement versus just like a week and a half.
And I think that's super cool that they're starting to add like all of these things. I know the last couple drive-ins that they had, they also had like a photo area where you can like drive by and take a picture to kind of get that like that feeling of being there. And I know a couple shows ago we had this huge discussion on like, were drive-ins worth the money and what is it they needed to do in order to kind of improve that attendee experience. And I think this Halloween tunnel is really, it's really going to be the effect that is going to set them apart from a lot of other Halloween events, because, Kelly mentioned, the stages in Pooja, you were talking about like, how they're not transforming these places. And I know I've always been concerned about, like what else would we get to make it worth going? So these are all really important points. And I think everybody who attends these events, I know surveys go out and everybody needs to fill out those surveys and let them know what it is you want from them. It doesn't have to be strongly worded. It does not need to be strongly worded, even though that's my favorite thing to do. But I think these things will definitely help.
Yeah, they should definitely make it more engaging and fun and still safe. It's always like what I'm going after here.
But yeah, there's a map of all of the events on our website. And it'll give you the lowdown of everything going on this Halloween from the East Coast to the West Coast. And I believe that there's 20 events, a little bit less than, I think 15 like different events across the country. And they range from, you have the drive-ins, you have the pod rave, and then Brian Thomas and Home Base are doing the vertical style. So if you're out in Orlando, they are doing, the sooner you book, the better, because you can pick your hotel room. Because again, your actual room matters. It'll affect your vantage point. You can't leave your hotel room unless you have a VIP pod in the pool area. to book a room on the balcony for the vantage point. And that lineup has been released for the most part.
And who's going to be on that lineup?
So Green Velvet and Claude Get Real are playing on the second day. And then the first day, I don't have that off the top of my head.
Me either.
I think that's a really like cool concept to host an event from like the balcony. Well, not them host, but be able to view it from the balcony. Because how many times do we all talk about how much we want to just sit on our balcony and sip mimosas and listen to music? Like, I feel like this could be the next thing that could potentially take over. I would do that.
Like, I agree. I think this is the safest of all of the concepts, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because like hypothetically, like you could have one person in your party check in, like if you wanted to in the hotel, say that they required everyone to check in for IDs and wristbands, then maybe like you could do that from a car. You're in your room, it's your room, you control the access ingress points between your room and like who comes in and out of your room, if you want cleaning service, if you don't want cleaning service. I think that like those things in of itself make it like a good concept. It's at a Sheraton, which makes me feel good. It's not just at like a local hotel. And so it's at a Sheraton, and I think they have room service and chefs on site and stuff too. So, food on site matters too. That's another option.
I like how we get to see the scrolling through the list over here.
Yeah, I think this is awesome.
Up to the top, our header. You'll see a drag down for the Halloween events. If we can go there.
Me.
Yeah. So you'll see a map on our website of all of the events from east to west, and that'll give you a lowdown of kind of which is the best one near you.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's dope.
That's like awesome. Really, really, really cool.
Yeah. So maybe we can go through these one at a time, starting west to east.
Okay.
So in NorCal, we have Gareth Emery, and he's going to be at the SAP Center in San Jose. So that's the one up in San Jose. And tickets for that are still on sale. And it's the same promoter that did Gareth Emery down here in Southern California.
And are the links, because I have not actually seen this, are the links available to like where they can purchase tickets, or does it link it to the website? I think that is fantastic. Guys, this is what Festival Addicts is here for. We are supposed to be your one-stop shop for all of your festival treks, and we've curated all of these events for you that you could go to.
Yeah. Just a heads up, a big thing about Festival Addicts is a lot of us come from risk management backgrounds. Myself, I was an IT risk management person. Monique is a scientist. And like some people work in just like customer service. Nothing here is like a desert rave or a renegade. We're not going to expose you to like something that is not like put on by a promoter who doesn't know what they're doing. So just take it kind of from us as just like people who care. This isn't a random list of events. These are from like promoters and artists that have some legitimacy in this industry. And we're not going to send you somewhere that like is like, you know what I mean? That you're going to be at complete risk, but you're also responsible. Again, be safe and be responsible at these events as much as you can be.
And from the looks of all of those icons and those dots, there are events happening across the country, and there are more popping up all the time. And we are working on trying to keep it updated, but they're announcing on a Monday, and like I don't know, like 5 events will pop up. So just be patient, and we will continue to upload this, and we'll find good methods. But I think if you're in a certain area, this is a great tool. So this is awesome.
Yep. Some of the big things to note on here is that these are kind of events, again, all over the country. You'll find different genres of music. You'll find mostly dubstep this Halloween. That's the big popular one. But you'll find house if you look as well. And then there's 4 types of raves. So you have the drive-in raves, the pod raves, the vertical raves. And then Insomniac is doing Boo in Orlando, and that is a traditional rave that requires face masks and face shields, and they provide you both if you don't come with both for all of their guests. And if you want a pod, you can buy them in VIP. They are pre-sold, and you can pre-select your exact pod.
That's cool.
How much is this event, and what is the capacity? Are they putting like a cap on it, or?
Boo is actually quite cheap. Boo, the starting tier was $50 plus fees for 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
that's
mostly trap, like middle school trap, high school trap, college trap, like sorry, kind of a lineup. Like it's I think it's Say My Name, Valentino Khan. It's very trap, like young. It's the lineup skews young, if that makes sense. And then now I think they're at $59.99 for 2 days for GA, and the VIP, I believe the pods average out for $100 per person, like cost.
Wow.
And then what's the capacity limit? Did they mention that they were putting a cap on it? It's
this is like my inner former auditor kind of speaking. The way the website was written is that they said it was at 25% capacity, right? Monique, they designed this event is taking place in a parking lot. So who sets the square footage of a parking lot with perimeters? They do. So they can engineer that 25% number to like anything they want, right? Because you can set the dimensions of the venue. 25% of a parking lot is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. Very interesting. It's a nice way to get around that cap. I think it's interesting. Well, it sounds like fun. The lineup sounds good if you're into that kind of music. So, I mean, there's a lot that's happening. We're kind of getting festival season back, one pod and one drive-in at a time. So ladies, any final thoughts on all of these events that are leading up to Halloween? What events are you guys excited about?
I think I'm excited to see what EDM Drive-In does on an innovation level. I think that there's going to be a lot more industry things happening there than necessarily like we'll see it be a successful event from a consumer perspective. I think with that kind of a lineup and that many brand deals, and that many people coming out to San Antonio, I think there's going to be a lot more surprises than just like a haunted tunnel and some fireworks. Like I think we're going to see some real big innovation coming on that end because so many players are in the game to want to make it successful. So I'm mostly excited about that. I really hope White Rabbit Group does well too. I don't know if you guys are aware, but they were involved in some small social media scandal this weekend. Kelly, do you know? Do you want to talk a little bit?
I only know a tidbit of it, and that one person related to the company, I guess, posted some stuff that I don't think represents the whole company per se.
So they were flagged on social media for being associated with a white supremacist group, either because there actually is a white supremacist group called White Rabbit Group. And so there was a mix up between like whose social media handle that was. And White Rabbit Group is a pretty familiar promoter for a lot of people living on the West Coast. We've seen their events for years. They're not new.
Yeah.
This is a really sad story because that is their entire following. And sometimes that's your entire legitimacy when people see that you lost like your Instagram page and your website. They're just like, what happened? You know, they posted on Twitter, this is like the event's still happening and you know, what's going on. But I think with Joyride and Say My Name selling out, if you didn't go to that event, tell your friends to go to Virtual Riot. Tell your friends to check that out in Silverado. And support, again, more local promoters trying to give us events because they announced this 2 weeks before Insomniac did, and they were trying to bring us music before Insomniac was. So
true.
Kelly, what about you? What event are you looking forward to?
Oh, well, I mean, we got something local here in Riverside this week, so I'm hoping to sneak my way into some Major Lazer for a few hours.
To do a last minute trip to Riverside to see Major Lazer at the Ruby Doo.
And then next week, apparently there's a full week of Cascade just camped out in Anaheim from Tuesday through Sunday. So that just blows my mind. I had no idea. Like, I think the last time I looked at it, it was like 2 days and then it's extended to 5.
Sold out, right?
I think all of them, yeah.
I feel like I feel like he's on tour because I feel like every time I turn around.
He is. He had a Bay Area-ish Pleasanton or something like that. And then this whole week in Anaheim and then
Del Mar and Ventura are coming up too.
I was like, I remember Del Mar. That one's later. That's November 20th or 21st.
Ventura's right before.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's where my excitement's at.
All right. Well, I want to thank you both for being on the show tonight and talking about these drive-ins that are happening. I can't wait to hear about the events from this weekend next week. So everybody, I hope you all be safe. And before we close out, why don't we tell everybody where we can find you on social media? We'll start with you, Pooja.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Pooja_shenanigans.
And Kelly?
I'm Kelly Arianis on Facebook, and I am perverted_Patty on Instagram.
And producer Olu, you are in the background. Do you want to tell everybody where we can find you?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Instagram at OluBPM.
And I am your Mocha Princess. And don't forget to definitely check out, you're here on our Facebook. If not, you're here on our YouTube. And we want to thank you guys for joining us here on Tuesday. But don't forget to check out our Instagram, our Twitter. We also have Twitch. Use our hashtag for all of these events because we are kind of in the middle of festival season. So we want to see your pictures. And Halloween is coming up, and we want to do a very special tribute to all of our viewers. So if you are listening, use our hashtag Festival Addicts 247 and post your Halloween costumes that you're going to be wearing at these upcoming events. And we will select them and we will show them in a little slideshow that we'll curate the weekend after Halloween. Yeah, we'll do that. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys for being ladies for being on the show. And you guys all be safe. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.